Inspirations with Nikki Jones. Nikki Jones. Sunday after service inspirations with Nikki Jones. Mrs. Jones. Sunday after service inspirations with Nikki Jones. Nikki Jones. Sunday after service inspirations with Nikki Jones. Mrs. Jones. What's up, what's up, what's up? Hello and welcome to Sunday After Service Inspirations. I am your girl, Nikki Jones, and I'm excited to be here today. Yes. It is the first Sunday of the month of March. Can you believe we're already in March?
That's kind of scary.
Of 2022?
Yeah,
Good Lord.
That's kind of scary.
This episode of Sunday After Service Inspirations is brought to you by yours truly and the personage of Nikki Jones and TNT Soul LLC, where inspiration meets healing. And we're excited about being here today. It is March, and March is Women's History Month. Okay, so we're going to celebrate women this month. I know we celebrated women last month too, but we did it for Black History Month. So
and the month before.
And the month before. Why? Because that's just what we do. That's just what we do. Okay. So let's say hello to the people in the room. We got Miss April Berry, our engineer and producer extraordinaire. Yes. And we also have to my right the beautiful, the vivacious, the effervescence of Pastor Denise Thomas.
Yes.
And listen, we have someone here who I love so dearly. And you know what I do? I say that all the time. But listen, we go way, way back. We go way, way back. We go way, way back to the high school years. Yes, at Renaissance High School. Go Phoenix. Yes. R to the E to the N, AISSANCE. Yes. And I want to introduce and present to others my girl, my best friend, one of my bestestesses, Miss Lyn Roberts.
Hey!
Yes!
Lyn Roberts is also the CEO of Lyn Roberts Financial Solutions.
All righty.
Accounting. I'm sorry.
I'll get it clear.
You get it right. Lyn Roberts Accounting Solutions. Okay, look, we're here to talk about some money.
Yes, Lord.
It's quiet in here. I said we need to talk about some money.
Yes, Lord.
Hello.
Yes, Lord.
Yes, Lord. Look, we need to make sure we get our money right, get our money tight. Why? Because things are happening. I paid $4.19 yesterday for some gas. And so, yeah, I need to talk to you about some money. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're coming to talk to you about today. Not just that, but this beautiful woman, what she's been through, what she's going through, how her business is working, what she can do for you, because you might have some issues with your money, whether you have a business that you're embarking on, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you have your own personal finances that you're trying to put some things into place and get some legacy going and some inheritance going and financial solutions for some of the problems that you're having and changing some habits that we have. Oh God.
Yes.
Let's change some of these habits that we have that put us in these these needs for a solution.
Life will change your habits, won't it?
Life changing habits.
It will change your habits.
Mind-blowing decisions that has caused a head-on collision. This is what we're talking about today.
Wow.
Somebody wrote the song. It was Heat Wave. Here we go. So now we're going to talk about, you know I ain't got no sense.
She's crazy.
You know I ain't got no sense. Say hello to the people again, Miss Lyn.
Hey, everybody out there. I'm new to this Facebook Live stuff and being on camera, so
well, you know what? Look at us and talk to us. And the people on the camera, the people that see you on Facebook Live, you can speak to them. You can go back and look every now and again.
I'll catch up with y'all.
Yeah,
Thank you.
They might be making comments and things like that. They might be asking you questions or anything like that. And you can feel free to go back and forth, but look at us and let's just have a conversation.
All right.
Yeah.
We got you.
We got you.
You got me.
We got you. We got you.
Now, I can't talk. I'm not that shy.
Oh, I know. I know.
I go between an introvert and an extrovert every now and then.
Yes, I know. I switch back and forth too. Yes. So listen, we want to talk about women's history, and we want to talk about the accomplishments of women these days and how much it takes for us. Do you know, and I'm sure you probably know, that women are in the top, black women actually are in the top of the numbers in terms of starting new businesses and becoming entrepreneurs. We are in the top. We're in the running. And then you know why, right?
Why?
It's because we need to. We need to make some money. Yes. It's because we got to get some stuff right.
We got tired of taking all of our skills and giving them to everybody else, and we decided we're going to do it on our own. We figured out that we have to make some things happen, that we can't just wait for things to happen, but we have to make some things happen. Right. And this is not the first time. We all know that the first black woman who was a millionaire was... Madam C.J. Walker.
Thank you, Madam C.J. Walker. Thank you very much. I'm glad I got some people in here that know who I know.
Oh, yeah. But you see so much now. You read so much about black women. I mean, they're just taking things that we use every day. Yep. And they're becoming entrepreneurs. I don't care if it's some lotion, whatever.
Body butter.
And they're making money. Absolutely. You're seeing, I read a story, very encouraging. Young woman, been incarcerated, been in jail, and got out, took her product, and now she's a millionaire. I mean, the stories are there. If you want to be motivated, the stories are there.
And that's the key. It's the motivation. It's the motivation. And sometimes we lack the motivation because we have only been exposed to things that have failed in our lives. Yeah. And so sometimes you have to create that motivation within yourself to go past what you've seen, to do something you've never done and get something you have never received.
This is true.
Hello. Yep. So what you got to say about these entrepreneur women?
Well,
since you're one of them.
I'll say this. I became I've always had an entrepreneurial desire and a spirit. Always. I mean, my dad was one of the, I won't say the first, but one of the few black real estate brokers back in the 70s. And so if you go back and read some articles back in history, it talked a lot about how they were trying to break the barriers and put blacks in Northwest Detroit. And they had all these barriers. They would have to show them at night, because people unfortunately did not want blacks to move into those communities.
Yeah, that's true.
And so remembering how he was, I would go to his office, I may have been in kindergarten, and I just saw the movement and the activity, and I was like, well, I'm going to be in here wearing a suit somewhere, and I'm going to have a desk. I'm just, 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I always had a desire, my dad passed, when I was about 14 years old, and I just always I thought it was going to be real estate. And when I was, I asked my aunt, what would my dad have gone to school for? Shoot, I don't know what I'm in high school. I don't know what I'm going to go to college for, And so she said, well, he'll be an accountant. He might have gone to school to be an accountant. And I was like, okay, that's what I'll do then. So that's kind of the way it started out. So I've always had a passion for numbers. And analytics and thinking through and strategizing things. So that's kind of to some extent it's amazing how God sometimes will take a seed at that point in life and then he'll direct your path. And sometimes we go blindly and don't always know, but the scripture even says the steps of a good man are ordered by God. So I've always tried to keep God first in every single thing that I do. And so I think as the path grew on, even when I one day I'm gonna write a book. Nikki keep inspiring me to write a book. But one of the things was I had an opportunity to work for one of the big, at that time, 6 CPA firms. And it opened my eyes, but I still had this burning desire back in the 90s to start my own firm. And, life happens, kids come, things like that happen. And
it ends up all being in divine order.
Exactly.
Because hindsight is 20/20. When you look back, it's like, that had to happen for this to happen.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so now the wisdom that I've acquired through the years of working for the firm, working for, different municipalities has gotten me to this place where I am today. So now, my firm started last year, June of 21.
In the middle of the pandemic.
In the middle of the
pandemic. Started a business. There you go.
And because what happens is there was someone who told me that in the midst of the Depression, that's when the in the Great Depression, the chocolate chip cookie was created. Okay, so a lot of times when there's turmoil going, that's the time for us to go back in a state of crisis and go back and reassess our lives and decide, what is it I really should be doing and where do I need to be? And so that's where I said, you know what? And what happened was, that's why it's important to write your vision, do your vision boards and do those things, because when you go back, I pulled some stuff out of a closet. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm still trying to do that. I'm like, you know what? This must be in divine order. So I finally, did what I needed to do to get the firm established. And I am a licensed CPA firm in the state of Michigan.
Come on.
All right. And
all right.
So that's kind of where I am today. Now, here's how I'm going to tie this in. So there are a lot of people who have started businesses. And what happens is businesses fail because there's a lack of knowledge. I'm just, and so people can be an expert in their product or in their skill, but what happens is they don't know how to manage what's coming. So when you're making these sales and the money is in your bank account, you're thinking you do well. Well, you still have expenses. You got to pay for the supplies. You got to do things. And so people need information to make decisions. And sometimes people just don't get it. I've had people come to me and like, why am I not really, I'm making money. Why am I not? Because you're spending things. You're making decisions.
I was just going to say, you're using that big S. That big S is like a cuss word.
Right. Yeah, and so what people really need more than that, and people just got to understand, you need a partner, which is an accountant, to help you navigate your business.
Yes.
And so I'm not even going to just limit it to business, because originally before, and I know because, three of us here, church folk, and a lot of times it's not just the businesses. I'm going to go somewhere and people might look at me like, huh?
Go right there.
It's the churches too.
Listen.
Well, churches have money coming in and also need to be in a position to make decisions,
Hand me the zipper so I can put it on my mouth. Hand me the zipper.
Well, and again, I don't want to go down a bad path. But what happens is we sometimes take, God gives us visions and dreams and aspirations, but He also wants us to have wise counsel as well.
Absolutely.
And so we have to be in a position where you're given the tools that you need to be in a position to walk in right path. So, I have to say, this experience of really listening, I've got a lot of mentors in the CPA world, and also other people. You got to surround yourself with a community to get where you want to really be.
That's good.
In life. Sometimes we think we can do things alone, but this is not a life that we can experience exclusively on an island by ourselves. I'm just being real. God didn't make us to be alone.
So if you're starting, what are some of the things that you would line up that you would say a business needs to have in line if they want to start? A CPA, obviously, you need some.
And you know what? And it doesn't always have to be a CPA. You need somebody who has experience in accounting and understands the life cycle of a business.
Okay.
Really, that's what happens. So a lot of times when you're starting out, you have an idea. What a lot of times people come to me, I'll give an example of someone who came to me a couple years ago and was looking to potentially buy a hair salon. They said, okay, hey, maybe I can buy this building and things like that. So they were having conversations with some banks, and they asked for, a projection of what it was going to look like. So what happens, I asked a few questions. Okay, well, how many booths are there? What's the percent, are you going to be 100% full? And they said, no, that's not really realistic. Maybe I'll be 80% full. Okay, fine. What are you going to charge? And so what we did over a 3-year period, we ran the numbers. Okay, year 1, you may be only at 50% occupancy. How much are you going to generate? Take into consideration the cost. What's it going to cost to build the building? What is it going to cost? Or to get the place up to code? What is it going to cost for you to pay utilities on an ongoing basis? So when we ran the numbers through a 3-year period, when we ran the numbers for a 3-year period, we saw that at the end of the line, it didn't make money sense. And so we were able to walk through that exercise and prevent her from having a catastrophic situation.
Taking that leap.
Yeah.
Exactly. You got to count up the cost. That's scripture.
Yeah, that is scripture.
Who builds a house without first looking at how much it's going to cost to build
before
that house?
Before you do that.
And
that's $14.28.
I've seen people have money, and so they want to start a business. But like you said, no projections for how it's going to look. And so you go out and you buy all this expensive equipment that, and then give them, like you said, 2-3 years, and the whole thing is belly up because they're not making enough money to stay in business,
to sustain it, you know.
Yeah.
And they probably did not do, like you were saying, a 3-year plan, like a projection to see, like, if I'm here at year 1 and I'm here at year 2,
where am I going to be
at year 3?
Yeah.
If I don't do this or if this happens, and then having a backup plan as well. Because I don't think a lot of people have a backup plan at all. You know, a lot of times they have an idea and they go out and they want to do this, that, or the other, and it's great. But because they don't have a backup plan or anybody to help them count the cost, then, once it fails, then they're so defeated that they feel like, they can't make the next step or they can't try something else and learn from the situation.
Right.
And then sometimes people start businesses and feel like just because I'm in business, there's certain things that I should have. So I'm going to go buy me a Benz.
Yeah,
you can't buy no Benz
overextension.
You can't buy no Benz yet. You might not be able to buy Benz to you and your whatever.
Yeah, that's that thing of trying to look the part.
There you
before
go.
you actually
get there.
The part. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And a lot of people make that mistake too. So what did you learn from? So you're almost in a whole full year. Like in June, it'll be a whole year for you. Yep. So what have you learned, and how did your 3-year plan look for you?
So I've been working on a plan for a while, and because one of my things was listen, once the last kid gets done out of school, it's all about me.
There you go.
So the last one, Miss Shayna, and make sure you're done by the
She's
spring
the one and only.
She last one. This is it. So my goal, over the next few years is to get full-fledged, and I'm going to dive in. Let me tell you something. Because the state of the economy in the world right now, people are taking a different look and approach at employment. Okay, people want flexibility. People want the option to be creative, do things differently. Don't necessarily want to. People want to work. I want to make sure people understand. I don't think there are some lazy folks, but people do have a desire to work. I think people just want to work differently. Yes. After going through the pandemic and you see, how creative you can be in your own workspace, people want to work at home. I'm one of those people on hybrid. I appreciate hybrid because I can't be stuck in that office, because I will stay. I won't get out of the office until 8, 9 o'clock. Andrew, my husband gets home at 8, 9 o'clock. And and I'm still in the office, so I'm almost no better than him. But people want different things. So as I was looking through that, I said, you know what? I know that I have a different calling, and I know the many people that I've interacted with and talked to, and I don't just do business. That's really the direction I'm going, but I also do personal consultations. There's some personal financial coaching that I do. People sometimes equate the amount of money that you make, the salary number, to what you're really worth. I'm sorry, that really is not it. It's really all about your net worth calculation. And, that's pretty much going to be all your assets, the stuff that's worth something, and it probably isn't your car, minus the stuff that you owe. Okay. That'll really tell you how much you're going to be worth in the long run, and whether or not you are going to be in a position to leave a legacy to your family after that. Yes. And if that number is not positive, let's talk. I don't have a problem ever, having, conversations. And most people, especially my family, they'll know. You start a conversation talking about some money, we can, we gonna go. We gonna go straight forward. So
are people now more inclined to come to somebody to help them with financial planning, or they still try to kind of work it out on their own?
One of the things I've learned, because as I was trying to figure out what my purpose was, one of the things was, I thought I wanted to be able, because I used to work in a retirement system for one of the counties. I thought I wanted to do personal financial planning. That didn't stick, because I'm not, I understand investments, but I'm not going to tell you which one to pick.
Where to put your money. Okay.
The other thing is I thought I wanted, there's some other things I would do, but what I really want to educate people about is really financial literacy. And it is businesses, but it's also, the decisions you make in your business are going to impact your personal life.
Absolutely.
And if you have horrible habits in your personal life, those things are going to translate into your business.
Yes.
And it's not going to, if you aren't successful as an individual, your business, unfortunately, probably is not going to be successful unless you surround yourself with the right type of people.
That's what for sure.
Yes, that's
and
good.
Listen to them and take their advice.
And take their advice.
And take their advice. Because you can surround yourself and they just there.
And right. And then you have some people, and this is not a bad thing, but some people who don't do anything but hide it. You know what I'm saying? They want to hide their money, so it's not working for them at all.
Yeah.
It's just sitting somewhere and collecting dust. Like, it's not even somewhere where it can collect interest.
But now here's this is something that I'm hearing, with the Bitcoin and the transition to that. I'm hearing a lot that we still need to have some cash
on hand.
Do the old grandmother thing. Get your shoebox or whatever you're gonna get.
I ain't gonna tell everybody.
You need some cash on hand. I'm hearing that more and more and more.
I've heard that too.
I'm hearing that more and more and more. You need to have some cash because there's a lot of transitioning going on in our monetary system, and so you need to have.
And the dollar is just not, the U.S. dollar, I should say, and just tangible money, period, doesn't have the value that it had some years ago, and I think it's declining. Not just because of specifically what we're going through right now, but over the years, the value of the dollar and even the value of other types of currency has changed over the years.
So to your point,
all the time.
To your point that you made earlier, it's so important to try to know what to do with your money. I'm gonna save some, keep some cash here, to have some cash on hand. I may invest in crypto, Bitcoin, may put some in there, but I don't know if banks are like right now.
So I'll say this, because I'm definitely not an investment advisor, but I'll say this. I mean, something as simple as going back to when we had the major power outage that shut the grid down.
Yeah.
Okay. Your ATM card didn't work, things like that. I always say everything needs to be balanced. Right. And that you always make sure that you're in a situation where you can protect yourself against an emergency.
Yes.
And you can go buy you some milk and bread if you need to.
Right. Yes. And make it through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Get you some beans. Amen.
I mean, we're hearing that now. We haven't heard that in a long time, that we need some stashes, some water, because we just don't know, that's a whole other rabbit trail.
It's kind of like,
does Auntie Glow still have a Y2K house?
Yeah, no. I was just thinking that, no, she doesn't. Well, I mean, she always has an abundance. You know what I'm saying? But that Y2K house, no, we don't have a Y2K house no more. That was the place, though. And remembering how people were thinking back then, it was that's when the water was disappearing, and now we have a snowstorm warning, and people go clear out the grocery store.
You can't buy toilet paper because it's gonna snow.
It's like, what does snow have to do with toilet paper? I don't understand. So now tell me what your future looks like in terms of where you're going to go, within the next 3 years with your business.
Yep. So right now I provide, it says accounting solutions, and what that means in a solution, it's a broad solution. So what I usually do, I will provide bookkeeping, accounting, even as high as a CFO level service. And so there's this thing called a fractional CFO. Okay. And so what happens
I've never heard that. That's good.
Yeah. So just chief financial officer. And what happens is, companies sometimes just need consultation, but they can't afford the salary of a chief financial officer.
Gotcha.
To be honest, okay?
Gotcha.
And so they just, one time say, what, why don't we, maybe I can get, maybe you can come to me, maybe I can provide you some numbers, and we can do, just give me a synopsis of where I'm sitting today. Okay. And so that will give them enough information to say, okay, hey, you're on the right track. You know what, gas prices are going up. Maybe you need to increase your rates here on, maybe some pricing of some things, or hey, maybe you can cut some costs. So maybe you may not necessarily need somebody full time, because chief financial officers are not cheap.
Exactly.
And so, that's that. But some people just need, I've had one person, I just want somebody to pay the bills and, just handle the thing. Here's access to my, I don't just necessarily want to say I want to take access to people's accounts, but you give me the information I need to be able to do your daily bookkeeping or your monthly bookkeeping. So it could go anywhere from bookkeeping services all the way up to, chief financial officer services, which would be, I'll give an example. If it's someone who provides online services, and I'll just say, okay, hey, you're already collecting the money, the revenue. I just need to put it in the little general ledger accounts to make sure that it makes sense so I can tell you the story. My pastor's been talking about, Pastor Larry Jordan, hey, Pastor Larry, talking about the power of telling a story. And so what I do is tell a story with numbers. You can give me a set of numbers, balance sheet and income statement. I can say, okay, you're making money, but you're spending too much, and you're spending too much on this. Why are you doing that? And a lot of times it comes down to a mindset. Sometimes, you know, we talked a little bit earlier about just buying stuff necessarily. When you have that entire and complete picture of what that story looks like, it'll give you information you need to really kind of make some adjustments.
Wow.
And if you make the adjustments early, you can sometimes kind of prepare for it. I'll give you another scenario. We're going through tax season right now. Now, unfortunately, I do not offer tax services. I know enough about taxes to give some high-level tax planning advice, but I do not do taxes. But what I will do is prepare you to go to the tax person, because there are a lot of tax preparers who will not be your bookkeeper.
Gotcha.
They will not give you books. So if you need to give something to a bank, you want to get a loan or something, they're not. Some will, but some, you know, a lot of times they probably won't. And so you want to make sure that you have someone who could build you a solid set of financial statements with good support. Okay, so that when you go, you have a decent case to be able to present to a banking institution.
That's important too, because I know even when I was driving for Lyft, and I used the QuickBooks app to put in everything that I spent, I was always blown away by how much I spent on each thing, because it would break it down for you.
Yeah.
But it was so helpful at the end of the year when it came time to file taxes. You know, everything was right there, but I still was blown away at how much money I spent, you know, because I put everything in there. And as a matter of fact, it kind of calculated it for you. And so
it does.
It's so easy to blow money. It's just so easy.
It really is.
It's so easy.
I used to talk about my dad. When I used to watch him put his receipts from McDonald's. We would go to McDonald's and he would ask for his receipt. And I was like, why you need a receipt from McDonald's? But he, at the end of every day, he had all his receipts for everything that he spent. And he would sit there and go on his computer and enter every receipt for everything that he's ever spent. And he did that religiously. But then when I look at him today, he's set up so that he doesn't have to worry about, you know,
he can go to McDonald's and not keep the receipt.
He could buy at McDonald's if he wanted to, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, but he's in a position right now because of what he did, because of the habits that he established back then. He's in a position now where he doesn't have to worry about, you know, the gas being $4.19. And he still talk about it because he's cheap as all get out. But he's still, he's in a better position now because of the habits that he created back then.
So some years ago, I think this was probably when Shayna was born. So I was on maternity leave. So that's about 23 years ago. And, you know, I mean, again, I'm an accountant, but there's still some elements of things that come when you come up in an environment where, you know, there's some great need, okay, and there's not resources to provide all the needs and the wants. And so you come with some habits, okay? And so working in an accounting firm, and I was around people who were exposed to different things. I mean, that's what happens in life. You get around people and it causes you to think about, you know, your habits or what you're experiencing. And so when I was kind of looking at that, I'm like, you know what? I need to find a way to I got all these, you know, I got these credit card bills, I'm making this money. And I was struggling because I'm like, I got to get ahead. And I needed a bigger way to look at it. So what I did, Black Enterprise, I'll get them all the credit all day long. I would get that's when you would get the print magazines. And
Black
reading
Enterprise
those magazines every month gave me the mindset to start shifting my way of thinking. And so what I use, and I still use it to this day, as old as dirt, is Quicken. And pretty much, and I know, you know, the kids like, what you doing? Pretty much every day before I leave, after I work out, go in Quicken, balance my checkbook, you know, that people don't call. Somebody asked me, what's balancing the checkbook? I'm like, oh, Lord, these kids.
What is a checkbook?
What is a checkbook?
When you get in the line and somebody in the store and they got a checkbook, you are like, oh my God, no, we don't have to wait while you write out this check.
I still have a checkbook that I use.
I don't know how, I don't use it much, but I still have it. I think I still have one.
I have one.
But it's just still, I've created that habit. And so again, I'm all about the net worth. I have a plan. I'm not trying to, you know, be 75 and having to eat, as my friend Toya said, tuna fish and rice, because, you know, I'm sorry, that's not my desire. And so, and I want to create an atmosphere where, you know, we're comfortable. The other thing that I have a vision for, and this has become a desire, man, there are a lot of young people that I've encountered, some in my family and some around, that just don't have the know-how to navigate getting through school, getting tuition covered, training covered. And I really have a strong desire to be in a position, and I'm putting out the pots, like the prophet told the lady, put the pots out and pour the oil, and it kept pouring until it stopped, all the buckets. I want to be able to fund tuition and training for young kids.
All right. right now.
And I believe that I will be in the position to cut checks.
Come on.
Because what I need,
write
and
them
that's
checks
the thing,
with a whole lot of zeros.
Yes.
So I mean, I look at other, and again, I had a friend, and she was Indian. One of my, I get these people I work with, and I'm like, man, you learn stuff. So what my buddy, I'm not gonna name her name, they're from an Indian culture. And when their goal was to get their kids educated, and when I saw when people would leave money, that wasn't to go buy a car or a brand new house. It was to make sure that somebody else in the family got educated. Okay, and so I was like, wow.
That's a call coming through.
We got a call coming.
I want you to finish that.
Okay.
Hey, caller.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Who do we have on the line?
My name is Maria Jackson Smith.
Hi, Maria.
Maria Jackson Smith.
I ain't seen
I'm
you
good.
in so
I'm
long.
good.
I just went real country. I ain't seen you in so long.
I know. I do have a question though.
Okay. Question your sister.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm a very, what's the word? I'm kind of risk averse.
Okay.
So, because my invest, just throw a net out there and just invest everything in the stock market in a high, that would drive me crazy, right? Knowing that, I could take major losses. Yeah, I'll take the major gains too, but I could take major losses. What would you recommend in terms of investment products for somebody who's, even though I'm still fairly young, I have, quite a ways before retirement, I'm still risk averse, and nothing that a financial advisor tells me is going to change that about me. So what would you recommend for people like me who want to invest but don't want to take those big risks?
Yes. So what Maria, Dr. Smith said
Right.
was,
Right.
I'm just Maria today.
Today. All right. It's pretty much, she likes to play it safe. And again, I do not provide investment advice, but what I usually like to tell people is, you have to, a lot of times a financial planner will give you a questionnaire to kind of see where you sit, and they'll make recommendations. Now, there's a lot of different avenues you can look at this. You can say, you know what, maybe I have $10,000 that's sitting in my savings account. Let me try 1,000, and and just leave it there. And and again, there are all different levels. You have very aggressive types of investments, and you have low risk investments, and everything in between. So I mean, if you're concerned, you can always just try a little bit, sprinkle it, and and see where you go from there. But I'll also say an investment doesn't always have to be on the stock market. Let's make that clear. There can be, even my personal business or your own personal business. Is you're making an investment. Every time I buy a laptop, that laptop is going to generate how many sets of financial statements for me over how many different period. That $2,000 I spent on a computer
is an investment.
Is an investment. So I think that we have to sometimes think broader than that. Real estate is an investment. Everyone is not meant to be a landlord. I know I was not. Definitely my husband was not.
Didn't work for me.
We just too soft, and people need a place to stay. So I think what you do is, if you could find the right type of financial planner that can really talk through some investments. I say never stick all of your eggs in one basket.
Absolutely.
You just
I
put
agree
a
with
little
that.
bit, put a little bit.
I agree with that too. And if you're adverse, like you're saying, risk adverse, I would
just in general.
Just in general, it's a risk right now, no matter where you're going to put your money, and that's just blanket. I mean, even if it's in the bank, and with a banking account, there's going to be, with a savings account, there's going to be an amount of interest that it will accrue, over a certain amount of time. But if you're
2 cents,
right.
I was going to say,
it ain't a lot,
like
but I'm saying, but
right.
if you're trying to do, it depends on how much you're spending. So the way I started was I put like $1,000 in an E-Trade account, and I started an E-Trade account, and I just started watching different stocks in E-Trade, and that's how I started with the stock market in terms of just putting something somewhere to watch it and see where it goes and see where see how it grows. Other than that, my financial planner always told me, if you want to do low risk, to stay in mutual funds and things like that, because because the mutual funds and an IRA and things like that are a lot safer than going so far deep
they just
into
don't,
the
the
stock
yield
market.
is not, the yield
the
is
yield
not
is
as
slower. The yield is slower, but it is more steady because the risk is so low. So, if you want to get into the stock market, I would say open an E-Trade account or something like that, something where you can do it straight from your phone and you can watch it every day, or you could do a Fidelity account or whoever, if you're trying to go into some mutual funds or get an IRA through your bank and just kind of watch it, and don't put all your money. Like
I was going to say,
the key,
I think the key is to take money that you can play with.
Yes.
Because that's what I did for crypto. I wasn't going to go through all the classes and Bitcoin, but I wanted to put my feet out there. And so I did. And I don't check it every day, but sometimes I open it and I'm like, yeah, that's good.
Right. And that's what happens to me sometimes when I open, my E-Trade app, and I'm looking like, oh, okay, well, that stock made me some money. I was thinking on that one. Now on the Lord's Day, he gave me that one. Right. But and I just leave it. Like, I don't touch it. I don't withdraw from it or anything like that. It's just there, and whatever it does, it does. But it started at 1,000 about like maybe 2 years ago, and right now I'm like past 3,000. So it just depends on what you put your money, where you put your money, and how that particular stock is growing. And I mean, you can get like daily emails from anybody that will tell you buy this stock, buy that stock, and think about this stock. But you just have to read that information. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. It's up to you. You just do the mutual funds and be done with it.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you, ladies. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling in.
Hearing from you.
Great show.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So I know we took that call, but you were on a roll, and I just kind of
So we were talking about my friend, the Indian culture, how they would go back and they would take any inheritance they would do, and they would put other family members through school. Yeah. And again, different countries, have different sets of values. And unfortunately, because we're struggling the Black community has struggled to arrive. So when we arrive, we have things that supposedly say what we're supposed to look like. And so I really want to change the trajectory of that and really be in a position to pay tuition. And I'm talking about just.
I remember you saying that in high school.
Did I say that?
And I think you said it in college too. And we were at Grand Valley State University, GVSU. But I remember you having a desire back then to pay for things for other people so they wouldn't have to worry about that, so they could focus on school and bettering themselves. That's always been part of your DNA, young lady. Part of your DNA. That's so I know you, Shayna is about to be 24?
She's 23.
She's 23.
So she's in her last year of college?
Yeah, she's in her last few months of school.
Lord have mercy. What was your process with teaching her about money, and when did you start, and how did that look for her?
So, it's a lot of times, especially when you're a first-time mom, you want to give your kid everything, right? And her dad is no different, we just want to give them. But one of the things I've always tried to do is teach her a balance. I can give you a whole lot of stuff, but if I'm not here, I need you to be, I'm not giving you money to go blow, leaving money to blow. I need you to be able to do something with it. The Bible even talks about, he gives you the seeds, and which way are you going to sow the seed? The seed needs to produce fruit.
Right.
And so when we have these resources, we got to produce something. So I'm a firm believer in, if I teach you how to fish, you will never struggle. Hungry. You'll never be hungry. And so, early on, I'm not gonna lie, she had nice things, but I would, hey, no, you use that bathroom, help me, you gonna clean that, help me clean that.
Absolutely.
Right? We in the grocery store line, no, girl, you got a pocket full of cash, use your money.
Yeah, why they want to spend your money?
They never want to spend their own money.
Spend their money.
My son loves spending his money, but anyway, go ahead. Yes.
So and so what I did, and I've tried to teach the girls about, because I birthed one and ended up with 4, but I've tried to teach them about investing, and there are going to be some things that they're going to say, oh, you know what? Just like, she told me about that. Okay, I understand it now. Sometimes you can introduce concepts and your kids just aren't going to get it until later on. Yeah. But, I believe that, especially with Shane, I think I've, created her to be somewhat independent, where she can, make sound decisions. I mean, I remember, because, that chick, in a lot, she was kind of loaded. And so she was talking about she needed a new purse. Now, if anybody who knows me in purses, Lord. I'm not, hold on. I'm one of those that I like keeping my change, right? I don't like spending a lot of money on something that's
sometimes
tangible.
I look at the price on those things and I'm like, really?
Yeah. But she had me, she's like, and what she told me, she's like, I said, well, she didn't go buy a purse, you need a purse. She said, Ma, you know how I am. I'm kind of cheap. I don't really want to spend no money, a whole lot of money on a purse. And again, I'm not one. I have nice, my husband, does nice things for me that I deserve, and he can keep them coming. But
don't stop picking. Don't stop.
But I'm saying is, in timing is everything. We don't have to have the latest handbag, the latest cars, and things of that nature. I just think that we just have to be wise about our money. And so I believe that in her. I'm not saying, she's perfect with money, but I believe she understands how to manage money. She understands the value of an investment, or, and things of that nature. And also, because this is the thing, ooh, Nikki, debt. Them credit cards they used to give us in the Kirkhoff Center.
Girl.
Ooh, Lord help us.
They were passing them out like candy.
Yeah, they messed up a lot of kids' credit with that foolishness. They messed their credit up.
And unfortunately, we didn't. Some people don't grow up in a household where you learn about finances. Yeah. You learn about how to get Paul all the money because you robbing Peter. You know what I'm saying? Paul be rich and Peter be broke all the time because you always robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's what I mean.
But there's a lot of new things that they put on the market. I've seen the advertisements where you can give your kid like a debit card in high school, but you track it and you control it. Now I gave my child one, but it didn't have the controls that theirs had. I was the controller. Checking, I was the controller.
You control this.
Yeah, but those are really neat, and it lets the kids see how they're spending and what they're spending, and I think those are nice to start them out with credit and teach them.
And teaching them about credit and your credit score and all of that stuff. I'm taking the Dave Ramsey class now, and he's a proponent of not even not using the credit cards hardly at all. Cash is king. Yep. Cash is king. Yep. And he's a proponent of not paying that much attention to your credit score because that's what the world is judging you by, but being able to just go, it won't matter what your credit score is if you got cash.
Right. Yeah. And we both know somebody that implemented the Dave Ramsey in their life as a young person.
Yes.
And their lives are just
ridiculous.
Cushiony now. I mean, they implemented and followed all of his principles, and so they definitely work.
Yes,
they definitely work.
Do you subscribe to the Dave Ramsey? The way that he teaches about finance and how you need to look at certain things like life insurance in terms of term life insurance or whole life insurance and all of those kinds of things. 'Cause I know insurance is a big thing right now too.
Yeah.
Or lack of.
Yeah. Well,
because somebody told them that GoFundMe is insurance.
GoFundMe is
and it not is not. It insurance. Is not insurance. Okay?
It is not. It is not.
I'll say this. So I have read Dave Ramsey's book. I have not been in his course. There are definitely principles that, I do, and I have taken a lot of advice on many of his concepts. There are some I'm still kind of like, well, I like my points on my credit card. So if I just put my groceries and my gas on there.
About that
for travel, travel and stuff like that.
I went on vacation in January off those points.
So you have to tailor it. You have to tailor it to your life.
Exactly.
And sometimes people who are up here and who have reached up there, they have a hard time remembering that some people are starting down here.
Exactly.
Right.
This is true.
But I mean, the other thing too is it took me years to get off the credit card habit, right? The addiction to saying, okay, just charge it. I mean, and so after you get, kind of get beyond that, then as long as you can pay the card off at the end of the month, it's not that big deal. But if you're still at the point where you can't pay it off, then you still got some habits you really need.
Your means.
Exactly.
You know, with this, talking about finance, there's always people that look at our spending habits, and there's things now that they have set up. There's apps that you can make a purchase. There's no interest. They just split your payment up of whatever you purchased over 6 months or 6 weeks or whatever, but there's no interest involved. And so they still have people spending. You know, sometimes you can still spend what you don't have because you think, oh, well, I'm not paying any interest.
Right. It's no interest until you don't pay it. Then they don't call it interest, they call it a fee.
A fee.
So you still, even in those things, it's pretty much, and I was listening to a podcast, and it's just another way. And so there's some organizations, because, you know, we used to have the what is the payday loan place.
Oh,
that
my.
used to be
They're still there, and people are still. If you have to go borrow money to pay them back what you owe them, it's a vicious cycle.
Yes,
it is a vicious
I mean, it's
cycle.
predatory, and I don't understand how people get into that. I think I used one time. My son went to U of D Jesuit, and everything was expensive, and so I think it was picture day, and they had to take the money to school the next day. I had never used one before.
Wow.
And I didn't have the money. I didn't have a support system with family, and I think it was $45 I got. When I paid it back and never used them again. They would send me stuff, you know.
Oh, yes.
Never used them again because it was for just a one-time thing. But people that have to stay on that hamster wheel, I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think sometimes it becomes survival. Sometimes it just becomes survival. I mean, I think back to some of the stories, you know, even in college, it's a lot of it was about survival and not having resources to do things. So I think that what we have to find a way to do is break that cycle.
Yeah.
We got to find a way, you know, just like with a lot of other, we got to find a way to break the cycle.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so my mission really is to break the cycle. I mean, the cycle was broken with me. Broken with my husband. So I just want to be in a position to help small businesses. Well, not just small. I mean, I dream big. That's the way I be.
Yes.
I am going to help businesses. I am, you know, going to help nonprofits. I'm going to help churches. I'm going to, you know, I mean, I've worked in municipal, you know, in the public sector for pretty much all of my career. I want to be able, I see things. I'm like, oh, we can fix that if we could tweak this. I just believe that there's going to be some great things that are going to come out of some of the things I'm going to have to offer.
Yes,
Amen.
Yes.
I was over here sounding like Willow. Wow, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
Wow. So, Lyn, do you have something that's coming up where you're going to be available to answer other questions, or is there something coming up like, you know,
Masterclass?
Yes.
Let me release that masterclass.
That's a good idea. Like, do you have something like events or anything coming up that people can come to, or how can they reach you?
So you are my inaugural event. So thank you so much to my besties. We go way back.
Yes.
So I am pleased to announce that my website, and I'll, you know, will be released. I'll put a link out there if you're interested in doing that. Taking a look at the website. Shout out to the person that did it, Bradley Creative Group. They really kind of helped me out there.
Wow.
Okay, what is your website?
It is LynRobertsCPA.com.
There it is.
LYN. Don't put two N's on my name. You might get hit.
Lyn.
LYNRobertsCPA.com. And I'm tweaking my Facebook page. I need my kids to help me with that. You know, I'm struggling on social media. And Instagram is also a page. I'm still working on that. So, you know, once I get everything all linked up, that will all be released. But my website is out there. If you have a small business, or I keep saying small, but if you have a business and you don't have an accountant and you're struggling with your bookkeeping, you're not ready for tax service, reach out. You can schedule a consultation with me. It's free. We can, you know, have a discovery session, talk through what your needs are. If you are interested in some personal finance coaching, that is not necessarily listed on my website, but that is something I every now and then do as my schedule allows. You just want to have a conversation, and, you know, then we can have an initial conversation. If there's some additional things you'd like for me to, you know, provide, I can definitely give you some things. Again, I do not provide investment. I try to make that very clear. I do not do investment advice. I will pretty much try to help you structure, almost like I would do a business, and help set up a budget and take a look at their finances. I can definitely do that on a personal level as well.
All right.
Okay.
But in response to my girl over here, it is actually my marketing consultant, and I have been talking, and that's Miss Monica Foster. See, I'm calling names now. I gotta speak it in existence. We've been having conversations, and actually, I will say that there were some things that the Lord kind of revealed to me even recently about some classes and things. And I'm like, you know what? People need this information.
They need it.
And
they
again,
need
so
it.
so
they
you
need
said
it.
that, and
Master
Pastor Larry been talking about telling a story.
Yes,
yes. And so I do have some plans in the making. There'll be some little snippets coming out, and I'll make sure that if you can definitely follow my personal Facebook page, Lyn Roberts. I will do my best to, I'm real kind of finicky about that. But once I get my business page out there, I'll make sure that I'm a little more open there. And I'll make sure that I put things out there. And it may be something really simple and quick as, hey, I'm going to do a 30-minute conversation about some things. Come with your questions, and we'll kind of talk through them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I do.
Even if it's just once a week, a lot of times people can plan their days around knowing something if it's going to come, at the same time every week. And if it's once a week on, I don't know, Friday or something at, at noon, while people are eating lunch, lunch and learn kind of thing, and you go live and people are there to answer, ask you the questions regarding, finances, or just, how to get some stuff structured, or even just how to connect with you, so that they can get the services that you're providing. And I'm sure there's some tiers in terms of, what you provide at this level, what you provide at this level, and what you provide at that level. And we want to make sure that we ain't trying to, get the workaround. What can I get for free? You can get this consultation, that first consultation.
Specifically, 15-minute consultation.
Yes,
better be specific.
Yes. And if we're meeting at Starbucks, guess what? You pay for your own coffee. Hello.
But they have calendars now that are really good for setting up your meetings, and it gives you the time.
Absolutely.
And so you can structure it.
So much.
Yeah, because
so much
people
available.
Time is money. Time is
Absolutely.
valuable.
And people themselves, we are, as human beings, are a resource.
Yeah.
We are a resource to one another. So, just like you would pay for any other resource, you should be willing to pay for someone's time. Now, when you're offered a free consultation, as you have been offering, make sure you take advantage of that, and make sure you don't go in just waiting to see what they have to say. Go in with your questions. Go in with your list of questions. Be prepared for the consultation so that you can get the questions answered that you need. So you can't say, I left the consultation and she didn't answer none of my questions. But what questions did you ask? You know what I'm saying? Were you expecting them to have some great presentation? No. You want this financial consultation for a reason. You are coming to them for a reason, or whoever the service is, whatever it is, you're going to them for a reason, because they have an expertise, because they can provide something for you. So if you're going to do that, be prepared. Okay. Yes. So like the other day, I had a photo shoot, and I had never thought about going to the photo shoot prepared with what kind of pictures I wanted to take. Right. But I did. Once I made that list, it made it easier for me to go into the photo shoot and say, okay, I need a shot like this, I need a shot like this, I need a shot for this, and I need a shot for that. Yep. And because I was able to do that, the photo shoot didn't take as long as it would normally take, because they weren't trying to come up with something that I needed to do.
To the table with
I came to the table with that, and I got that from a mentor. Go to the photo shoot with what you have in mind. What is the goal? And so every time you're coming into a meeting with a consultation or with someone who's providing a service, have your goal in mind. It's just a good practice, and it will save time and money and resources. Praise the Lord. I want to apologize real quick for people who are looking for us on YouTube, and I know that there are some people who are looking, who are on Mixcloud right now, and I don't have Mixcloud on my phone. I have it on my laptop, so I can't see the questions. I know there's some questions that people have on Mixcloud. This is what I want you to do. I want you to go to Lyn Roberts' Facebook page, and I want you to go to her Facebook page and ask those questions on Facebook. and she can respond to those questions accordingly, okay? I apologize again that we are not on YouTube, but we are on Mixcloud.
That's why I couldn't find us on YouTube.
Yeah, I couldn't find us. I can't with you. Yes, we're not on YouTube today, but we are on Facebook Live, on Lyn's page, and if you have some questions, make sure you go to her Facebook page and ask those questions, and I promise you she will respond, because that's who she is, and she is a woman of integrity. I know her to be that since day one. I'm promising you. At the lockers in Renaissance High School, this woman was integral. Okay? I'm serious. I'm so serious. There has never been a time.
We can't be late to class.
There has never been a time in my life that I've known her that she has not been integral. So I am grateful for you being here today. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your time. We look forward to you coming back again. And thank you for listening. We love you, and goodbye for now. We'll see you next week.
Sunday after service inspirations with Nikki Jones. Nikki Jones. Sunday after service inspirations with Nikki Jones.